Hi, welcome to Bedtime Bible Stories. I am your narrator. I am Nikki K. the Great, your pretend personal prophet. That sounds so funny every time you say it. Anyway, I will be walking you through these stories of the Old Testament. I will be interjecting a way lot. I use a lot of cuss words. And sometimes I even point out whatever the lesson is, or like, that's a thing to think about, right? Anyway, shit like that. I'm not a preacher, not even a storyteller. I'm a story reader. You know, I've uh I've been doing this for a little while now and it's kind of fun. So you might have fun too. So come along with me on this journey through the Old Testament. It'll be great. And if you can't tell, this is not my computer. My computer finally went to zero. This is not the right time. This is not the right time. But it is the right time to make sure you took your pills. It is the right time to take your pills. And then pack your bowl, grab your smokes, get comfy, make sure you have your bedtime beverage, your nightly reward for keeping other people alive. The teenagers aren't home. You got a lot of your dishes done, I'm sure. And the teenagers are gone for a week. So, cheers to getting your house clean. So, we are on Samuel 12. So, David just got Bathsheba pregnant and then killed her husband and then married her, all because he saw her naked. So, David broke a commandment, two commandments. For one thing, see, the cover up is always worse than the original crime. So God sent Nathan to David to tell him some shit. So Nathan came to him and said, I gotta tell you a story. Are you ready? I'm gonna tell you. There were two men in a city, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had very many flocks and herds. Like he had a lot, right? But the poor man had nothing but one little lamb, which he which he had, why can't I read? So he had bought this lamb, right? And he brought it up and it grew up with him and then his children. It used to eat of his meager fare and drink from his cup, lie in his bosom. It was like a daughter to him, like he loved this fucking lamb, right? It was like lamb chop. It was a cool little fucking thing. Now, there came a traveler to the rich man, and he was loath to take one of his own sheep. Right? He was like, oh, this guy is not worth my shit. This guy, right? So, I'm gonna give that guy stuff. I'm gonna give that guy to this guy. It'll be great. Everybody will be happy. And even me, because I don't gotta give this dude nothing. This guy makes some money, that guy gets some food, and this guy gets some money. And I don't even, no. This guy, I don't have to get my shit up. I'm cool with that. So, David's, Daver, David's anger was greatly kindled. He said, man, fuck that shit. Fuck that, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. Fuck that. That guy's gonna get back whatever times 4, man. Screw that guy. And then Nathan said to David, are you retarded? Were you born that way? I don't know if you were born that way. I met your dad. He's not really dumb. So, like, are you. You're that dude, you retard? Like, listen. God told me to tell you. I made you king, not only of Israel, but also of Judah. And then before that, I saved you from Saul. I've given you everything. Why didn't you say you wanted more? Listen. Look, look. You broke 2 commandments, right? 2 commandments at one time. Who does that? Man. And then you took his wife. Look. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from your house, for you have despised me and broke 2 commandments. Right? And now she's your wife. Man, you're out of your Jesus smashing mind. I tell you what, man, you bloody bitch. Thus says the Lord, I will raise up trouble against you from within your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to your neighbor, and he will lie with your wives in sight of this very sun, for you did it discreetly. But I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. Oh, yeah, this happens. Yeah, this happens. It pisses David off like a motherfucker. Oh, yeah, listen. And then David said, I have sinned. And Nathan said, David, now the Lord has put away your sin. You ain't gonna die, but you're gonna suffer, you motherfucker. Nevertheless, because by this deed you have utterly scorned the Lord, you broke 2 commandments. Man, at the same time, at the same damn time. Yeah, you're like future right now. Thus, the child that is born to you is gonna die. It ain't gonna be you, it's gonna be that kid. And then Nathan went to his house. The Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became very ill. David therefore pleaded with God for the child. David fasted and went in and lay all day and night on the ground. The elders of his house stood beside him, urging him to rise from the ground. But nope, he didn't even eat with them. On the 7th day, the child died, and the servants of David were afraid to tell him, for they said, while the child was still alive, we spoke to him, and he did not listen. How are we supposed to tell him? What if he hurts himself? But when David saw his servants were whispering, he perceived that the child was dead. And David said, and they was like, So David got up, washed, anointed himself, changed his clothes, and went into the house and worshipped. He then went to his own house, and when he asked, they stood before him, and he ate. Then his servants said, "The fuck was that about, dude? Like, you fasted for him, but not when he died." And then David said, "While the child was still alive, I fasted and wept. For I said, 'Who knows? The Lord may be gracious to me, and the child may live.' But now he is dead. What am I gonna fast for? Can I bring him back? No. No, no, no. Nope." And then David consoled Bathsheba, and went to her and lay with her. And she bore a son and named him Solomon. The Lord loved him and sent a message by the prophet Nathan. So he named him, hold on, and sent David a message by the prophet Nathan. So he named him Jedediah because of the Lord. Now Moab fought against Rabbah of the Ammonites and took the royal city. Joab sent messengers to David and said, "I have fought Ramah. I have taken the water city. Now, then, gather the rest of the people and encamp against the city and take it. For I myself will take this city, and it will be called by my name." So David gathered all the people and went to Rabbah and fought against it and took it. So he took the crown of Milcom. David is a motherfucker. Oh, look, listen to what he does, man. This motherfucker. He took the crown of Milcom from his head. The weight of it was a talent of gold, and in it was a precious stone, and it was placed on David's head. He also brought forth the spoil of the city in a very great amount. David took this guy's crown and put it on his own head. This guy. He brought out the people who were in it and set them to work with saws, iron picks, iron axes, or sent them to the brickworks. Thus he did to all cities of the Ammonites. Then David and all the people returned to Jerusalem. All right, we're going to chapter 13. Give me 1 second. Okay. Chapter 13. Some time had passed, and David's son Absalom had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar, and David's son Ammnon fell in love with her. Ammnon was so tormented that he made himself ill because of his sister. Tamar, she was a virgin, and it seemed impossible to Ammnon to do anything to her. But Ammnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of David's brother, Shemaiah. And Jonadab was a very crafty man. He said to him, "Yo, dude, What's up, dude? Why you looked all fucked up? And Ammnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. Okay. And Jonadab said to him, lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes, say to him, let my sister Tamar come and give me something to eat, and prepare the food in my sight, so that I may see and eat it from her hand. So Ammnon lay down and pretended to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Ammnon told him all that. Then David sent home to Tamar, saying, go to Amnon's and make him some food. So Tamar went to Amnon's house, where he was lying down, and she took dough and kneaded it, made cakes in his sight, and then baked the cakes. Then she took the pan and set them before him, but he refused to eat. Ammon said this, tell everybody to go. So everybody left. Then Ammon said to Tamar, bring the food into my bedroom, so I may eat from your hand. So Tamar took the cakes and took them into her brother's bedroom. But when she brought them near him, he took hold of her and said, come lie with me, my sister. And she said, what? Fuck no, dude. What? No, nobody does that. Who does that? Don't do that. No, no. As for me, where could I carry my shame? And as for you, you would be one of the scoundrels in Israel. Now, therefore, tell the king, for he will not withhold me from you. But he would not listen, and being stronger than her, he forced her to do the midnight dance. Then Ammon was seized with very great loathing. Indeed, his loathing was even greater than the lust. Ammon said, get the fuck out, hosebag. Why? Why do guys... See, this is a virgin thing. This is what virgins... This is a virgin thing. I'm so ashamed. Or a drunk white girl thing. Right? Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I hate you. Sexual assault. But then she said to him, do you need in here?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. Tell me.
It'll be a few.
Okay. But she said to him, no. You don't get to do that. Who does that? You don't get to do that. You made me do this. No. But he didn't give a shit. And he called the dude that was his servant and was like, hey, tell this bitch to go. She's getting too needy. And she was wearing a long robe with sleeves. For this is how the virgin daughters were clothed in earlier times. So his servant put her out and bolted the door. So Tamar put ashes on her head and tore the long robe. So she did the get naked thing too. And she put her hand on her head and went away, crying loud as she went. And Absalom was like, what this fuck will I do? Be quiet for now, right? Don't say shit. because he's your brother. And do not take this to heart. So Tamar remained a desolate woman in her brother Absalom's house. When King David heard of all these things, he got mad as fuck. He was like, the fuck no. No. But he would not punish Ammnon because he loved him, for he was the firstborn. So Andy's an older one. See, this is, right. But Absalom spoke to Ammnon, neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Ammnon because he had done the no-no with his sister Tamar. After 2 full years, Absalom had sheep shears at Baal Hazor, which is near Ephraim, and Absalom invited all the king's sons. Absalom came to the king and said, so check it out. Can my brothers go to my house? I gotta go do some sheep shit. But the king said to Absalom, no. No, not everyone can go. But Absalom was like, no. You don't have to go, Pops, but can everybody else? I want a party. And then Absalom says, can Ammnon go? The king said to him, why? But why? But Absalom was like, hey, but I like this guy. I want to get drunk. So Absalom made a feast. Okay, so David let everybody go. And then Absalom was like, party time! Right. Then Absalom commanded his servants, watch when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. When I say to you, strike Ammon, kill him. Do not be afraid, because I told you to. Be courageous and valiant. So the servants of Absalom did as Ammon. No, they did to Ammon. Ammon, just as Absalom said. When all the king's sons rose, each mounted his mule and fled. While they were on their way, the report came to David that Absalom had killed all the king's sons, and not one of them was left. And then the king was like, everybody's dead. Absalom is the worst one. Oh. But Jonadab, Shimei said, no. Suppose that they have killed everybody. Ammnon alone is dead. This has been determined by Absalom from the day Ammnon raped his sister, which, by the way, is his fault. He told him to. Now, therefore, do not let my lord the king take it to heart, as if the king's sons were dead, because it's only just Ammon. I promise. But Absalom fled. When the young man who kept watch looked up, he saw many people coming from the Horonaim, Naim, the road by the side of the mountain. Jonadab said to the king, see, I told you. As soon as he had finished speaking, the king's sons arrived and raised their voices and wept The king and his servants also wept very bitterly. But Absalom fled. He went to Talmai, son of Ammihud, king of Geshur. David mourned for his son day after day. Absalom, having fled to Geshur, stayed there 3 years. And the heart of the king went out, yearning for Absalom, for he was now consoled over the death of Ammnon. This guy, David. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so for chapter 14, this is going to be the last chapter for the evening. Now Joab perceived that the king's mind was on Absalom. Joab sent to Tekoa and brought from there a wise woman. He said to her, "Pretend to be a mourner. Put on mourning garments. Do not anoint yourself with oil, but behave like a woman who has been mourning for many days for the dead. Go to the king and speak to him as follows." And Joab put these words in her mouth. When a woman of Tekoa came to the king, she did the face thing and said, "Help, O king." And the king said, "What's up?" And she answered, "Alas, I am a widow and my husband is dead. Your servant had 2 sons, and they fought with one another in the field, but there was no one to part them. One struck the other and killed him. Now the whole family has risen against me, and they say, 'Give up the man who struck his brother, so that we may kill him for the life of his brother, whom he murdered, even if we destroy the heir as well.' Thus they would quench my one remaining ember and leave to my husband neither name nor remnant on the face of the earth." And then the king said, "Go to your house, and I will give orders concerning you." The woman of Tekoa said to the king, "On me be the guilt, my lord the king, and on my father's house let the king and his throne be guiltless." And the king told her, if anyone says anything to you, bring him to me, and he will never touch you again. Then she said, "Please may the king keep the Lord your God in mind, so that the avenger of blood may kill no more, and my son not be destroyed." He said, "As the Lord lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground." And then the woman said, "Bitch, shut up. Go on your way. You're giving yourself away. Please let your servant speak a word to my lord." And the king said, "Speak." The woman said, "Why then have you planned such a thing against the people of God? For in giving this decision on the king, convicts himself, inasmuch as the king does not bring his banished one home. We must all die. We are like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up. But God will not take away a life. He will not devise plans so as not to keep an outcast banished from ever. or forever from his presence. Now I have come to say this to my Lord. The people have made me afraid. I will speak to the king, and it may be the king will perform the request. For the king will hear and deliver his servant from the hand of the man who would cut both me and my son off. Your servant brought the word of the Lord. Your servant thought, the word of my lord the king will set me at rest. For my lord the king is like an angel of God, discerning good and evil. The Lord your God be with you. No, negative Ghost Rider. See, nobody knows. David is evil as fuck. Okay. When the king answered the woman, don't, don't, don't tell me everything, okay? Tell me everything. And then the woman said, what do you say? And the king said, did Joab do this? And the woman said, you know he did. Right? You said it, so it's law, you know? Like, Joab is trying to fix things for you, but you are so fucking smart. Huh. God gave you a good brain. And then the king said to Joab, go find Absalom, okay, and bring him home. And then Joab did the face thing and blessed the king and said, today your servant knows that I have found favor in your sight, and the king has granted the request of his servant. This is so fucked up knowing what happens. Like, Joab, I don't get it. So Joab set off and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. The king said, go ahead. I don't want to see him. I don't want nothing to do with him. Tell him to go to his own house. Now in Israel, there was no one to be praised so much for his beauty as Absalom. So Absalom was a pretty motherfucker. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, he was pretty as shit. He was pretty. I bet he had long black hair and nice little goatee. I bet he looked like the devil. Oh, the devil is supposed to be really fucking handsome and have that mustache, you know? Like when they make the devil an intellectual in movies, how he looks so pretty, right? I bet that's what Absalom looked like. When he cut the hair of his head, for at the end of every year he used to cut it. When it was heavy on him, he cut it. He weighed the hair of his head, 200 shekels by the king's weight. There were born to Absalom 3 sons and 1 daughter, who was Tamar. She was pretty as shit too. So he named his daughter after his sister. Absalom lived 2 full years in Jerusalem without seeing the king. Then Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king. But Joab was like, no. So he sent a second time, and Joab was like, no. And then he said, Look, Joab's field is right over there, and he has barley. Ha ha! Go set that shit on fire. He'll love it, he told me. He said, yeah, set my field on fire. It'll be great. Then Joab was like, Absalom, did you set my shit on fire? Are you kidding me right now? You just you set my money on fire. What is wrong with you? Right? And Absalom was like, I told you, to come here and go to my dad. Right? I said, let me go see the king. If there is guilt in me, let him kill me. Right? No more mob boss shit. Then Joab was like, yo, King D, that little motherfucker set my field on fire. Like, talk to him. Or I'm gonna kill him in the fucking face. Right? I'm gonna kill him dead. Jesus, smashing, you better talk to him. Right? So, that's the end of that. Absalom just set Joab's field on fire. Like, fuck you. Go see my dad. Go tell my dad. So, that's what Joab did. And we are going to end right there and pick up tomorrow morning and see what happens to Absalom for setting fields on fire. So, thank you for watching. I love you. Press like. I've been posting my Vimeo videos, so I'm trying this thing. I'm trying this thing out. So if you happen to be watching this on Vimeo, press like, please. And I think this might be another video platform. Well, it is another video platform, and it might be one you have to add in order to press like. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But anyway, thank you for watching. I love you and have the greatest day. No, I lied. Have the sweetest dreams ever. I love you. Bye.